do not go anywhere when you see the graphics. I'm going to show you the graphics in a second. Just brace yourselves and just pretend they're awesome, okay? Because the game is good and you need to listen. So sit down, behave yourselves. Here's the graphics. Yeah, that's a race. That's the best it gets, guys. Numbered balls whizzing around a line. Okay, so we got rid of all of the people who don't care about gameplay. So I'm just left with the gameplay people. So this is a Grand Prix game. I say Grand Prix because it's set in the golden age of racing, which is probably around about the early 60s. Well, it started around the 60s. And into the 70s, when lots of drivers were being killed, to be fair with you. I think there was like 12, 13 or 14 killed every season around about that time. Very dangerous, hardly any safety features. That's what this game is set in. Now what you do is, in the demo, this is a demo at the moment, which is why it's not getting the words, you choose your drivers. First you pick your team, pick your drivers, and they all have stats and traits, negative and positive traits, so you need to be careful. You need to have a look at their speed, and you only have a budget of 50 quid. 50 quid, guys. So you can see how much these drivers cost, but you have to buy then your engineer, your chief engineer, and your team manager, the pit manager, I think that's what it is. And then you can choose a sponsor after you've done that, and the sponsor will give you money if you achieve a certain goal. So I set mine as low as possible. If I get in the top 10, I get an extra 2 quid. If I finish the race, I get 4 quid. Tuppence halfpenny that. When you've done all that, in your first race, you just go straight to qualifying for your first race. You then select the driver, send him out. There's nothing else you can do. You just send him out on his first flying lap. So he goes round the circuit, does a flying lap, then comes in, and that generates you upgrade tuning points. And this is where you go to the engine. You've got 3 choices to change, to tune rather. You've got the aerodynamics, which is the overall speed. You've got the engine, which is again speed. Then you've got like handling, which chassis handling, how fast you go around corners, and the engine's sort of acceleration and things like that. So you can choose which one to tune. Now you can see there's numbers in brackets. It took me ages to work out what this is because there's no manual, no tutorial rather. But essentially, you have to get the green bar up as far as possible. And when you click on one of the options, it'll say 0 to 4 or something. That means when you press that, you'll randomly be given a number between 0 and 4. Obviously, the higher that number is, the further that green bar goes up. So you want to be aiming for the higher value numbers if you can. You only get as many points as you've amassed on that flying lap. I don't know how points are amassed, but you can see them all as yellow dots on the left side. And then you click, select your tyres, which will be softs, obviously for qualifying, send them back out again. Does another flying lap, comes back in, the points have been reset, but the values of the tune-up remain. So you then do the little game again. You say, oh, I'll go for that one. There's a higher chance of getting a high mark. So you want to choose the right one for the circuit. If it's a power circuit with not many bends, you want to be really hammering the engine and anything that's to do with the speed, because cornering's going to be just like not that important compared to a track where it's all bends. Then obviously you want to be going that way. And you do this until you have finished qualifying. Now, because you're starting off in the demo, you haven't got a good team, you haven't got a good car, you've got shit drivers, so you're not going to be pole position. Then it comes to the race. You have a look at the weather forecast for the race. It'll tell you in which part of the race you might get rain, so you have to kind of plan that. You can choose your tyres. You've got your softs, you've got your mediums, and you've got your hard tyres, then you've got your intermediates and your wets. So it's standard stuff that you would expect in Formula 1. The way it works is, if you don't know, softs give you way more grip, but they don't last as long. Hards last a lot longer, but you don't get the grip. So you can go a lot faster on softs, but they're going to weigh twice as fast as a hard tyre. Intermediates are great when it's wet, but not totally wet. And then when it's absolutely lashing it down, switch to wets. That's how it works. Now you can bring your drivers in anytime you like during the race and change tyres, and you might even need to repair some parts on the car. So you send them off on the race, keep an eye on lap times, you keep an eye on what the opposition's doing. It tells you what the strategy is. You can tell them to conserve tyres, you can tell them to conserve engines by keeping the revs down, or you can tell them to just drive like an absolute maniac, but that'll wear the tyres and engines, but you'll go faster. So, or you can tell them to preserve it all, or you can have like a steady, just middle of the road kind of approach to it all. You get a bit of radio feedback in the top right, even though they didn't have radios back then, but hey ho. You get all of that, which adds to the fun of it, I guess. And that's essentially the game. You go through the race, you watch what your opposition's doing, you look at the strategy of whether or not you can catch the person in front, maybe push them a little bit faster, having a look at where you're predicting your fuel's going to run out. If you're going to have more than enough fuel for the end of the race, you can tell them to just get the foot down a bit. You can choose 2-stop strategy, a single-stop strategy if you're a lunatic, or you can go for a 3-stop strategy. I've tried all different ones depending on the weather conditions. I did some really good ones where I could see that it was going to rain mid-race, so I put them on softs first. So I knew I'd only get about 10 to 15 laps. I told them to just hammer everything for 10 to 15 laps, which got me 3 or 4 places, because I knew everybody would have to pit between the 10 and 15. So the whole of the field went out on mediums. I went out on softs with my team, and it proved great strategy. Then we all came in, everybody went on to intermediates, and I did well in that race. Now after the race, if you do get high enough, you'll start getting bonus money, and that's when you can really fine-tune your parts, repair parts, or rebuild entire new engines based on stuff that you've actually done to make your engines better. It's quite a tactical and deep game for a load of balls flying around a line, but it's about using your imagination, isn't it? These kind of games. You've got half decent little sound effects going off, but I'm a huge racing fan, I always have been, and it's just so nice playing a game like this. I get so immersed in it, even though I can't visually see anything immersive about it. It's just what you're doing. It's purely a gameplay game. As you can see, there's not a lot of eye candy to have a look at. But as a kid, I had no problem using my imagination to play games, so it's fine for me. I'm totally happy with a game like this as long as the gameplay is there. But obviously, I know other people aren't. But you're missing out. So for those that like Formula 1, like team management, and don't want to have to spend £50 on the latest all bells and whistles one, you can get this. I have no idea of the price, probably tuppence halfpenny. We'll see when it comes out, but the demo's free. It's called the Golden Golden Lap.